Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's episode, we're going to be making very delicious mini apple pies. This recipe is so good, amazing, and extremely delicious. So for this recipe, all you'll need is 3 red apples, a cutting board, a knife, a baking sheet, some wax paper. You'll also need some of this puff pastry, so I'm going to use four sheets, so you'll need to just defrost this. So when you're starting to make this and when you're making the other parts of the recipe, then it's good to take it out of the fridge and then defrost it in the refrigerator. So you'll also need half a cup of brown sugar, a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 tablespoon of butter, a fork for later, some water. So I just took about a 1/4 cup of water, but you don't need a quarter. This will be for later for the puff pastry. You'll also need a brush, and you'll need also 2 teaspoons of brown sugar and a bowl. So that's all you'll need. So to get started, we're just going to preheat our oven to 350 degrees. And then once we've preheated the oven, then we're going to start by cutting the apples. So I already preheated the oven, so we're just going to start. So we're just going to take our apple and we're going to cut it into squares. So we're going to cut it like this, lengthwise, and then cutting it into little squares. So just like this, little squares, and we're going to place it in our bowl. So we're just going to cut it like this. And then we're going to do that for all the apples. So we're going to cut it this way into long strips. And then we're going to cut it on the other side, making little squares, just like that. And we're going to do that for the rest of all the apples. So cutting it like this. Just like that, cutting it into little squares. And we're going to do that for the rest of our apples. So we're going to cut all our apples. So I like to cut it like this so then I get the most out of the apples. So yeah, we're also going to use this part so that we can use as much as the apple so we don't waste anything. So we're just going to cut the rest of our apples, then we're going to place it in our bowl. And then we're going to continue with the other parts of the recipe. Now that we've cut all the apple, we're just going to mix the sugar and the cinnamon together. So we're just going to pour this in our bowl, and then we're going to mix this together. So there, we're just going to mix this, and once it's combined, we're going to take this to to a saucepan, and we're going to warm up the apple and saute it. So after we've cut the apple into cubes, we're just going to saute this with some butter. So now that we have our apple ready, we're just going to turn on the stove to medium heat. So we're going to take our butter and we're going to place it in our saucepan. So just like that. And once it has heated a little bit, then we're going to add in our apple. Now that the butter has melted, we're just going to add in our apple. So there. So we're just going to saute the apple. So I've left these apples for 7 minutes, and they're starting to turn very tender and soft, which is really good. And we're just going to leave this for another 5 minutes, so in a total of 12 minutes or 15 minutes as well if you like, so 12 to 15 minutes in total, just so the apples will be nice and tender and soft. And then once they're soft, then they're ready, and we're going to take them to the other table. So we're just going to leave this for another 5 minutes for the apples to be nice and soft. And then we're gonna take them to the other table and we're gonna assemble. So now that we have our apple ready and we sauteed the apple, we're just going to take our puff pastry and we're gonna lay it on our cutting board. And we're going to divide it in half, so about here. And then we're going to place our apple on our rectangle. So we're just going to scoop out a bit of the apple. We're going to place it on our puff pastry. So just like that. And now we're going to take our brush and we're going to use some of the water. And we're going to wet the sides so then the pastry could stick on to the other side. So just like that. And now we're going to place the other rectangle on top and we're just going to press it down on the sides all around the rectangle. So we're just going to squeeze or press down on the side, so just like this. And now we're going to take our fork and we're just going to press it down like this all around the little apple pie. So just like that, pressing it down on the apple pie. And just like that. Now we're going to poke 3 holes in there, and then there, our first little mini apple pie is all ready. Now we're just going to transfer this on our baking sheet, and then we're going to continue with the rest. So now we're just going to continue with our next one. So we're going to take our puff pastry. We're going to cut it down the middle. So just like that, and we're going to move this to the side, and then we're going to do the same thing we did with the other one. So we're just going to scoop out some apple and we're going to place it in the middle. So just like that. I'll get a tiny bit more. So there, just like that. So we're going to, after we've placed the apple on our rectangle pastry square, we're going to actually wet the sides, so then it'll be easier to stick on. So we're just going to, with our brush, lightly brush on the sides of the pastry. So we're just like this, all around, making sure we get all the sides and all around the pastry. So all around the rectangle. Now we're going to take our little pastry rectangle, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to squeeze the all around the rectangle. We're just going to press it down so then it sticks to our little pastry. So just like that. And then we're going to take the fork and we're going to press it down on the little apple pie. So just like this. There. Now we're going to press the fork on 3 times. And just like that, there we have finished our other little mini apple pie. So we're just going to do that for the other 2. And then we're going to, once they're all finished, we're going to place them on our baking sheet and then sprinkle them with a little bit of sugar. So now that we've assembled all of them, we're just going to sprinkle some brown sugar on top. So I saved 2 teaspoons extra of brown sugar, but you could add this to your liking and depending on how much sugar you would like to add at the end. So we're just going to sprinkle this on top of our little apple pies. So just like that, to give it a little extra sweetness and flavor. So there, I'm spreading it all around. And we're just going to sprinkle it on. So just like that. You could add as much sugar as you'd like. It's just for a little extra flavor and decoration, but you could also leave it without the sugar, add the sugar. It's both really, really good. So there, now that we've sprinkled the sugar on top, we're just going to bake this in the oven for 30 minutes on our preheated oven that we preheated for 350 degrees. There we have finished making our delicious apple pies. They're freshly out of the oven. They smell so good. They're extremely delicious, very easy to make, and very fun recipe. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have any questions or comments. Just let me know. And I'll see you in the next video.